Yeah, get 2 for
All right, I'm
5.
gonna give an explanation on our new Wi-Fi TIU. It should be out, John will
Pretty
have
soon.
it, well, we'll have them next on the 15th, and then you'll have them the following week, if he's good with that.
That's if I have any money.
Yeah. So, the new TIU, the big difference between the TIUs you're all bringing in to upgrade today, and this TIU is a couple of things. One, the Wi-Fi unit, which we sold as a separate box that'll plug into all those TIUs, would effectively give you what this TIU has, except for the fact that this TIU has the two variable channels can be AC or DC. So anybody has G gauge, that's DC. HO's DC. Two rail scale, oak scale, that's DC. So you can, when you put the power into the variable, it'll detect whether it's DC power or AC power, and then you can use it as a standard transformer. So you can run the old trains right now, AC, you can run the old Lionel, the old American Flyer. If you do this, you'll be able to run G gauge. We have a lot of G gauge customers that were looking for 10 amps of power and to be able to digitally control them, and so that drove it. We also were making HO, and so you could have a lot more power on an HO because this has a circuit breaker in there that will protect the power. As far as the TIU itself, I don't know how many people already have DCS and the TIU, but just to go over it quickly, there's 4 independent channels. You got inputs and outputs. To put this on your layout is very simple. There's 2 ways to power it. One, it comes with a power supply that you plug into the end. If you do that, the TIU will stay power all the time. So if you leave the room and turn off the layout, it's still going to be powered if you power it this way. The other way to power it is through fixed 1. And fixed is just passing the power through and adding a digital signal on it. When you hook up fixed 1 and turn the power on your layout, it powers the TIU. So you don't need this plug-in power supply for the TIU. That way, when you shut your layout off, the TIU goes off, and when you power it on, everything goes back on. Like I said, each one is rated at 10 amps, which is a lot. It has a fuse inside, so if it ever blows the fuse, it's just an automotive fuse that you'll unplug and plug in if you happen to blow the fuse. The other benefit of this is with the app, which you can download off of the Apple or the Play Store for any Android phones. You download that. That'll give you the basic app. When I say the basic app, it'll give you the whistle, speed control, horn. If you want all the additional, for the advanced features, you buy that through Apple, and you buy that through the Android, the Play Store, and I think it's $25. That's how Apple makes all their money, makes your stock go up. But you buy that feature, and that's through the phone, through your Apple account or your Android account. You buy that, and then you have the advanced features. Now, anybody who has the app already and already has the advanced feature, when you download the new version, for some reason, this is an Apple and an Android thing, go to, on the app, you'll see at the bottom when you go to run the trains, I'll show you real quick. When you go down here, or up here, the more, it'll say upgrade, and then you hit restore. And when you restore it, that will restore. If you've already paid for it, you only pay it once on your whole Apple account or your Android account. So if you have 5 devices in your house, your wife's phone, your phone, kids' phones, 4 iPads, it's only $25, and that goes throughout your Apple account or your Android account. Okay, so hit that restore to make sure that it says, hey, you need to buy it. No, don't buy it again. If you bought it once, hit restore, and you still have it. Back to the TIU. On the end of the TIU, as I said, there's a power supply. If you want to power the TIU up all the time, some people have, for example, we had the Pittsburgh Steeler, all the Steeler stores, we had Steeler trains that ran in it. We powered this up so the TIU would be on all the time, and it was running a scene. And then they had a switch that powered up the transformer that was on a timer in the back of the store. And when that timer went off, the train layout, and this thing had a loop that it was running, and the train would stop and play the station announce and run all automatically. It was under a dome in the Steeler store. So if you wanted to have it powered all the time, that's what that power supply for. There's a USB port. That USB port has a number of different purposes. Like I said, now you can upgrade, you will be able to upgrade from the app all the newest software. So next year, the year after, we won't have to do what's going on back there is upgrading TIU and remote separately. You will be able to upgrade this by just going to the app and hit upgrade, and whoop, it upgrades the TIU. So that's an advantage of this TIU versus the other ones. The other ones you'll still need to manually update. So that's one purpose for the USB. If you need to ever connect it to a computer, you don't with this TIU, but it's the computer port. We're going to make two additional cables that you'll need to buy. If you have TMCC and you already have this cable you still need it. This cable connects to the TMCC box, but since it has a RS-232 port on it, you're going to need to get a special cable that this plugs into that will then plug into this USB. So it's a little dongle cord so that you can continue to run your TMCC with it. The other reason is this remote has RF. Now, we stopped making the remotes because of two things. One, the RF module is discontinued. The company doesn't make it anymore, and really there's no new RF technology coming out because everything now is Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So they've pretty much discontinued the RF for the toy type of thing, and the chip is no longer available for us. Also, the screen is no longer available. It's a black and white screen, really basic. All the screen manufacturers go into color, touch tone screen, so the screen's not. So we can't make them a remote anymore. If I could make it, I'd make it because there's still a lot of guys out there that like using this remote for some reason. But the phone or the tablet, I think once you start that, I don't know if you ever go back to the remote. But the guys who love the remote don't want to give up the remote. The only way they're going to be able to use it is tethered, meaning there's a telephone cord for the handset on your telephone. Now, a lot of people don't even have that anymore. Pretty soon there won't be any telephones in your house anymore. But there is a cord that goes from the handset to the, and you can buy those cords really long if you want. That plugs into here, and there will be a new cable for a remote cable that you'll be able to buy that plugs in this USB that other end of the telephone cord will plug into, and then you can use your remote, but you're going to be wired to the TIU. So that's that port. There's an AIU port on this side. The AIU, a lot of people, we've never done a good job of advertising this. We've always started to just focus on the digital control of the trains. But I strongly encourage people to look into this AIU. And the reason is there are so many features. You can wire 10 switches or 10 accessories. Now, each port you can do multiple switches, but every time you hit that switch, both switches are going to go in the same position. Accessories, you more likely do that for lighting, say, on the layout. And you can put, up to 10 amps of light on one port. So you can have all the lights on your layout in one port to utilize one and turn them all on and turn them all off. But it's better if you do them separately, not every light bulb or the street light or whatever, but different accessories on a different port. And the reason is you can set up macros, and macros are routes and scenes. So the switches are routes. So if you have a big layout and you have 4 sidings in the middle, and that's where you store your trains, and you're out there running on the main line, and it takes 4 switches or 5 switches to get to the siding, and each siding has its own switch. So you need to drive it from there and hit those 4 switches. One might be right and one might be left, and rather than go onto the control panel and drive the thing real slow and figure out which switch is which, you can set them all up and say siding 1 away, and you can go from the main line and boom, all the switches hit at one time in the direction that you pre-program it, and it drives in there with one touch of a button. So that's that's really neat. The other thing is the accessories. You can make a scene. So if, say, John has a circus scene on this layout, and it's a big layout, and you're walking around it, and people get to the circus area, you can hit circus in 5 or 6 or 10 different accessories. The whole thing lights up at one time and just hit circus. So you can make a macro out of that. The other thing is there's a record and playback feature in this where you can record and sit there for 15 minutes and play with the layout and hit these scenes and macros, and it's nice to have all of the switches, everything connecting. The accessories is you get an on-off position or an activate. And again, when you're recording, if you hit activate for a gas station, it turns it on. The lights may already be on, and to activate. You can daisy chain up to 5 of these on each TIU. And so that would give you 50 switches and 50 accessories. If that's not enough for you, you can run 5 TIUs and change the addresses on the TIUs, and so you can have 5 of these, 250 switches, 250 accessories. If anybody has a layout bigger than that, let me know. I haven't seen it. So this system will as far as expandability, right now, if 10 switches is all you have, and if you have 15 switches, you get 2 of these, and you daisy chain them on 1 TIU, and then you can have them all independently controlled. You can still use the switch levers on your layout. So a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't want to rewire my whole layout and take all my switches off." You can leave those on. All you're going to do is run them in series. You're going to run the wires. You're going to splice into the wires and run that into the AIU. So you can still use your hand switches. But the other neat thing about the switches and accessories is when you set those up, you name them. And a lot of times I've gone to layouts of many different layouts, and usually there's number placards on each switch, which are really not prototypical, but this is switch 1, switch 2, and then on this board he has switch 1, switch 2. It's the only way you can remember which controller is for if you have a lot of switches. This way you can name them. So if you got a siding 1, and that switch goes to siding 1, you name it siding 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can name it the gas station switch, because there's a switch right next to the gas station. So when you're visually looking over the layout and you're looking at switch, gas station, that's where I want it to go, right there. You can hit that. So the AIUs is a good addition to as far as the TIU. The other thing is on each input, you can power this with, it doesn't have to be a Z4000, it can be a Z4000, or it can be the Z1000. And you no longer, for the Z1000, which is, what is it, 5 amps on that, times 20, so 100 amps, you're going to be able to get out of that versus the Z4000 is 400 amps. So it depends on how much power you need. But if you get a Z1000, you get one of these, and you just plug in the red into the red and the black into black, and plug in your Z1000 barrel jack connector, and now you have power through it. So there's 2 ways, like I say, if you're going to use an old line L transformer, highly recommend getting a fast acting fuse, because those are mechanical fuses, which relies on heat to heat it up to pop it, and it's way too long for the modern electronics. You'll burn the electronics out of your MTH train or line L train or whatever it is. Electronics are not going to take that. So get a fast acting fuse for that. But there's a lot of different transformers out there. If you're running in the DC, you've got Bridgestone and a lot of DC transformers that you could plug in here. The other thing is, if you're into HO or even the O scale where you have DCC, you can pass through DCC through the variable input, and you can convert this to a fixed channel, and so you can pass through DCC. So it's protected that it can take the DCC sound wave, and so you can run a DCC engine and then turn it off and flip over to the DCS or conventional. Any questions on the hardware box?
I have a question for 2 things. One, for the old style remote control that you can tether right through, not that one, older, the one you can break with the transformer.
Okay, we're talking about the transformer.
Yeah.
Well, the Z4000 transformer only plugs into the Z4000 transformer.
Okay,
So you're just
got it.
making a remote transformer. But
Okay, right.
what this does is a remote transformer, and it's always has been the.
Okay, I understand, no problem.
Okay.
I don't want to waste your time.
No, that's fine. I'm going to go over the this has a track button up here, and so basically that's your transformer. So you can run any conventional Lionel, American Flyer, and now HO engines, G-gauge engines through the DC inputs, and you just run the slider up and down, or you can, give a plus for one voltage for each one, a direction button, a emergency stop track to 0 voltage, whistle, bell. You can go here for your couplers, your PFA. No longer, if you're running with a MTH Z4000 or a Z1000 bell whistle combinations, this does it all for you. Same with the couplers. There's a bell whistle combination that opens your couplers if you're with a starter set with a Z1000 for the ProtoSound 2 and ProtoSound 3 engine. So that's all in here. You go to the engine. You come up with the speedometer. To add an engine, you simply go up here. Right now we have the engines on the track here. You put up a new engine, add one engine at a time. Put one engine at a time on your layout and add the engine, then take it off, put another one on, load all your engines up there. You can have 100 engines in here to choose from. And then you have a menu of the engines, you call them up. But to add an engine, you simply hit add engine, and you add an engine, and it'll ask you, are you adding an MTH engine or are you adding a TMCC engine? And we like to say the MTH engines are the smart engines. The TMCC engines are the dumb engines. And the reason I say that is the TMCC engines don't know who they are. The MTH engines know who they are, they know their serial number, they know how many miles that engine's run, how many hours that engine's run. There's a lot of information embedded in the engine when it was manufactured. We know there's more stuff we can get to than you can get to, but there's a lot of information stored in that engine. So when you add that engine and you're adding a TMCC, it will ask you, is it a diesel engine, is it a steam engine? What is the ID or the engine, the number that you have assigned to it? And then when you put it in the list, you'll name it. You'll also have to name the engine, and when you name it, it'll be in a list and look just like every other engine. But when you go to that engine, it knows it's TMCC. It sends a digital signal here. It goes out the cable to the Lionel box and talks to that. So this is the only system that you can run Lionel digitally and MTH digitally on the same track together. All as one. The MTH engine, you hit that, it'll go out and it'll say reading engines. And then it'll read it, it'll find out, and the engine will pop up and it'll say the name of the engine, and then you can hit it and add it to your list, and then go back and hit start up and start the engine up. And as you see, like the engine here, and you can raise the speed by taking and doing it 1 mile an hour at a time, or you can just take it and do it this way, or you can just say I want it 30 miles an hour, 29 miles an hour, and it will go there. That train is actually going that speed. When in scale miles an hour, it's a 1/4 inch to the foot. So if it says 20 scale miles per hour, it's actually 20 scale miles per hour. Steam engines, they know its wheel diameter, it knows its gear, every engine knows its gear ratio, the size of the wheels, everything, so that it's actual scale miles per hour, which gives you the chuffs per revolution on the steam engines. All that's all embedded in the engine. The whistle, you can, let me hit start. The whistle is a So you can play the whistle. You turn on the playable whistle. You can play the whistle. When you hit playable whistle, the more you pull down, the more smoke that comes out of the whistle. With all the latest engines we've made, we've added smoking whistles, so it heats up the element. More you pull it down, it heats it up more, and more smoke blows out of it. So you can play it, not only the sound, but also the smoke coming out of it. You got the bell. You got your forward and reverse. You push this button. You got your couplers, your headlight, your smoke, your engine sounds, your PFA. There's Doppler. This is what I call one-shot Doppler. Doppler is the sound of the engine coming towards you and going away from you. And one shot is just the sound goes away, and then all of a sudden, whoa, and you can do it whenever you want. Or later on, I'll show you in the features where you can set up a Doppler loop, and that's where you're going to take the engine, put it at the point you want the Doppler to work, drive it around to that point, and set that loop on the track. And then at that point, every time on the layout, whatever the sound volume, he's got the sound turned down a little bit on that engine, but when the sound volume comes around with that dB level, it's actual Doppler, which is the distance of where the train is and the dB level, and you'll start hearing it come as if you were a 1/4 inch to the foot guy standing at that part of the layout, and the train will wing by you with the loudest point where you're standing, or where we set it up at. Protocast, this new system, you'll be able to take your phone and whatever songs you have on your phone, or if you're listening to a podcast or whatever you're listening to out of your phone, will play out of the train. So if you want Christmas music around the Christmas tree at Christmas time, you can play it on your phone and it'll play it out of the train. That's the Protocast. You've got boost and brake, and that's just momentum and to get the train to speed up a little bit, and then when you let it go, it'll go back to the speed that you were doing. Labor and drift chuff is for the steam engine. It'll make it smoke harder. If you want it to really labor, you can, like it's pulling a long line of cars, you push that and you'll see the smoke pouring. It turns the smoke up to a hotter range, even to the highest volume on the train. So that's the way to get the most smoke out of it, and it'll really pour out of there, and then the engine will sound like it's laboring. And the drift is just the opposite of that. Then you go up to here, and these features, you have in every MTH Protosound 2, Protosound 3 train. Everyone has all these features. You might not have been able to access them until you use this app. You got idle sequencing. There's 4 different ones of those. There's custom sounds. Custom sounds is sounds that you record. So you can sing happy birthday to your grandkid, and then come around, stop the train, and hit the custom sound, and it'll sing, have your voice in there singing happy birthday to the child. You got forward signal, reverse signal. Those are the toots of the horn, 2 toots, 3 toots. For the train coming or going in reverse. The crossing signal, there's a sequence that I think 1 and 3 blast or something like that.
Put one on there like, please take me home.
Well, yours is a train wreck sound. Let me get to that. You got a quick toot of the horn, coupler slack, the sound of the coupler. When the train pulls off, you put this on, and then when you turn the speed up, you'll hear it tunk. Taking up the slack. The next time, every time you go from 0 to take it up, so you can set that sound up. Extended startup, extended shutdown. Like say, right now, that engine has 10 custom sounds, idle sequence sounds, and then his train wreck sound. So you can sound of the train wrecking. That's when they go over the switches here. There's lights: interior light, marker light, Mars light, beacon light, firebox light. You can turn them all on and off, whatever one you want. It has every engine has an odometer. So if you don't know, all the engines you've had for 6 years, you can take it, query it, and find out how many hours that train has seen power. You can set up a maintenance to remind you, so every time it hits 100 hours, it reminds you, hey, I need maintenance, and you can reset that, and so you can oil the engines.
That's MTH engines only, though.
Only MTH engines. Like I said, they're the smart engines. The trip odometer, it's just like you're going in your car and you're taking a trip, and when you're running it, you set that, it's at 0, you run for the night, and you can see how many scale miles that you ran. This thing also has a chronometer of how many hours you've run. The track voltage, this engine can use it as like you're setting up a layout and you want to check your track voltage. You can drive this thing around and see if there's a voltage drop, and it will go every section of track and check and see what the voltage is on that track. It also has a track signal, which is like the voltage, but it's actually the signal. It could be dirty track. And it goes around, and you're getting 8s in the back and a 4 in this spot, so it's got real dirty. So you clean the track and you get it back to 10s. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. It can measure a route, so you can see how many scale miles it is to drive around your layout in 1 time, or 2 times, or 3 times what it is. It can check your batteries. The engines that have batteries, Protosound 3 doesn't have batteries. Protosound 2, it can check the battery if it's good or bad. The last, with the gear setup for each different, and this is for each different engine, you can change it in the order on your remote. If you've got 100 engines and this is your favorite engine, you can put it at 1, so you can change each engine's address and put them in the order that you want. you have separate engine volume, separate whistle volume, separate bell volume, separate accent volume. So you set each one of those independently. So if you don't like all, you got 6 trains running and you can lower the engine volume, but you want to keep the whistle loud. You can change each one of those. You got brake sounds. You can change the chuff rate. I don't know why they put it in there. You can do it, but each engine's set up with 4 chuffs per revolution. If you think it's too fast for you and you want to slow it down, you can change it to 2 chuffs per revolution.
It's on the old, when it's up to 8 chuffs.
You can change it to
8 chuffs.
you can change it to 8, but then it's like a machine gun.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but right now it's set up in the factory. It's 4 chuffs per revolution is what a steam engine's supposed to do. That's what it's set up for. You got the clickety clack, which is a neat feature because when you run the thing and it's running at the same speed for 30 seconds, then that train will take up the sound of clickety clack, and that's really your passenger. And so you can have one train set up there and another one with a Doppler sound and another one with regular. So if you got too many trains running, it's just too much noise. So you can change what the sound is. You don't longer hear the chuffing. You got cab chatter. You can just play cab chatter when you want. It has the Doppler menu. That's where I was telling you can set up loops. So you can set this train up to be loudest here. You can set another one on the other side of the layout, another one on this side. So when people are standing on different ones, they'll hear a train come by and like it's coming and leaving. Then that's your engines. The track, I already went over that, and now your switches. And here you can hit all your switches, all to the right or to the left. So if you had 100 switches and hit it, bam, all 100 will flip at the same time. Or you can pick out the name of the switch. I don't have any switches loaded in here, and tell it to go right or tell it to go left. And like I say, each one can be named, and then after you name them, you can make a route and save those. So you can edit it and create, right over here you can create, there says no routes, but you can edit or activate the route. The accessories, same thing. On, all accessories, you just want them all to turn on at the same time on your layout, hit all and they all turn on. Or you can do individual ones that'll be listed here what those are. Activate, that's a push of a button that sends a pulse to the accessory, like a gas station, a diner, those things are an activation button. And then the more, and that's really the app support, you can get service. We have a service business now that we've taken the parts of much better than when before we moved and downsized. And myself and Mike Reagan, who some of you may know, but used to work for Lionel and set up their service department. He's one of my partners, and my brother-in-law is my other partner, Mark Hipp, that's been working for me since the 80s. And we have taken all the parts that we've had in the warehouse in boxes that we never even knew we had. We've made exploded views of and that's continuous. So you can go on our new website and you'll be able to search the item number on your product, go to support, find the parts that you do have, and it'll have the engine either exploded view or on photograph all exploded, and point to that number so you're sure that's the number of part you need, and you'll be able to get the parts are much easier to get. You can get to the parts through here in the service and repair. You got you can set it up for the Explorer. Some people have the starter sets with the little silver box, so you'll need to change the app if you're using maybe under the Christmas tree. You just use an Explorer. You can switch. You have to switch it here to talk to an Explorer versus talking to the TIU. It'll tell you the app version of whatever version of the app you're using. Back here, you can get to our user manuals, you can get to our newsletters, sign up for the newsletters. That's how we communicate with our customers now. If you're not signed up, sign up. That's how you're going to get what the newest products is, when it is, so you know to come into John in order. Again, parts and sales, the videos that we have, the old catalogs are all online that you'll be able to do. There's a search button that you can search. You have the app settings. It just was there. The advanced features, you can recover engines. If an engine, for some reason, that you tried to load the software in it and it failed, you can recover it back to the factory settings. This is where you do the record and playback. Again, you can set up 3 loops, 15 minutes each, and just play, or you can use 45 minutes on one loop and play with your layout, whatever buttons you're pushing, after you start the loop and hit save, the layout will do that every time you start. So you can have a beer with your buddies and a lot of different things. The engines are going different speeds, they're stopping, they're doing station announcement, switches are switching if you got an AIU, accessories are going, all that is all pre-programmed that you programmed yourself of what you want it to do. And so you just hit start and the guys come over and the layout's going and doing different things. So that's a pretty neat feature. Again, like the Steeler layout that we had a little sequence there, and the kids would go in the back of the store and watch the train and stop and play the sounds and blow the whistle and speed up and slow down, and nobody was doing anything. It was just this loop, and then you can loop that 15 minutes, just loop it, and it'll just go over and over and over again, so that it's more animated that way than just the trains running around the track. Import and export, that's where you're gonna get the new software. You're gonna be able to upgrade the new software, and that's in there. So all this is in the app. If anybody doesn't have the app, they can go to like I say, the Apple Store, download the app, or the Android Play Store. It's MTH DCS. Search that, it's free. Get the app, and then if you want the advanced features, you buy the TIU. You go into upgrade, and you pay the $24.95 to Apple or to Android, Google, and then you'll have that. And like I say, that's good for all of your items. My suggestion is, I know a lot of people like this, but it's hard to, this can only do so much as far as, as going forward, the features, the iPad or the phone. The neat thing about that is, everybody's got a phone nowadays. Your grandkids got phones, they can come over, they download that app, and when they're running it with their phone, watch. It's a different experience than running it with the controller. It's theirs. And it's a great way to sell trains, because once you put that app on the phone and he logs onto the layout and he's running the train and he's going to want that train. It's on his phone. It's he's running. You're running everything with the phone. So you can have buddies come over and you got 4 trains running here, and each one take a different train and with their phones and running. So all they have to do is go into the settings on the phone. There's 2 ways to connect this thing. You go into the settings. By the way, let me mention first, when you get this, there's already a new software update for this. So when you get it and you plug it in, it's going to say there's a new software update. First thing you got to do is go on, connect to your home network. So the best thing to do is take this, and on the end of it, it has a WPS button. That's where the one you push, and you push on the back of your modem, if it has one. Not all modems have it, but if it has it, you push the 2 together, and they will pair each other. Okay, and there's instructions, there's a quick start manual in there that'll explain that, so you don't have to remember what I'm saying or write it down. There's a switch on here that says MTH or home. It comes out of the factory at MTH, and I'll explain that in a minute. But the other one is home. So you turn it to home, push the WPS on your modem, and then whenever you walk into your house, your phone's connected to your home Wi-Fi, so you can search on the internet. You're not using your carrier to provide the internet service. You're using your home, and this is connected to your home. So wherever your home network is, you can be upstairs on the 3-story house in the bedroom. You got internet connection. You hit start up, and your layout's going to start up down the basement. Wherever you're in your home. The other one is the MTH one, and I'd like to say the first thing I'd do is connect it to your home. If you don't have home Wi-Fi, you have the MTH. This is the modem basically that you're going to connect to on this, and it's the same way with this thing. You connect directly to the box, which means you got to go on the phone, go into your Wi-Fi settings, and you'll see the MTH and like a serial number after it. For each one has a different serial number. You'll see your TIU. You click that, and then you log in, and it'll ask for a password. The password is in the instructions. It's all the same for every TIU you've ever made, or the Wi-Fi unit we've made. It's MTH DCS Wi-Fi. You put that in as the password, and then it connects directly to the box. Then, as I said, as far as to get the new software, if you don't connect it to your home, you're going to first go to your home. You're going to say, first you're going to go to the TIU. You're going to add the TIU to your phone or your app. Then you got to switch back to the network, the internet or your home network, and it'll download the new file, and then you go back to the TIU and it'll upload the file into here. And it gives you instructions on your phone while you're doing it, but you'll put the new software in this. In the future, you'll just hit upgrade and it'll upgrade. But the first time, that's what you're gonna have to do. So they're doing a great Facebook thing here. You'll be able to go on this Facebook and watch this again or read the instructions. Men don't read instructions. They wait until it doesn't work and then they try to find them in the trash can to get it to work. I know that. I do it all the time. So
I just put a toilet in and did that.
I do it all the time. I try to do it and figure it out myself. If I can't figure it out, then I always end up throwing it in the box, go out to the trash can, find the instructions and do it. So anyway, download the app. Everybody here should have the app on their phone. It's neat. You can walk through it. You can push all the buttons and find out. And then you'll like say upgrade it if you're buying this TIU. And like I say, these will be out
Pretty soon.
and very soon. And you'll be able to run the trains that way. And I tell you, when as far as the iPad, you don't have to go out and buy a brand new iPad. A lot of you might have a pad or a tablet. They call it tablet for the Android. You can buy one of these things for less than $50 on eBay, a used one that may not be the latest one, but it will work, and you just leave it by your train layout, and so this is your controller rather than this. Or you can use your phone, smaller, but and that'll work.
Will this
So-
TIU use, can you use this one with all your other ones, if you're connecting all the other
Yes,
ones also?
if you have.
You only need one?
Right, if
Okay.
you,
Question.
yeah,
Thank
if you have other TIUs, you'll have to change the address, and in there's a TIU setup. You'll go into the setup and you'll change the address, so you can only have, each one has to have a different address or they'll be cross-talking or
But you can
whatever.
run it super TIU, right?
Well, super TIUs, when you take 5 TIUs, after you get to 5, you make it a super TIU, and that sends it all. But
Right.
right now,
Right.
you TIU1, TIU2,
Yeah, gotcha,
and
gotcha.
run them that way. And that way, if some of these big layouts, I've seen it before, New Jersey high railers, they'll take 2 TIUs and they'll take their main line, divide it up in 8 insulated sections, and 10 amps on each insulated section, so they can run multiple trains that are running on there, or triple, 4, 5 engines hooked together with long lines of cars, and so that requires a lot of amperage in that section, and they can drive into different sections. So if you've got big layouts, there's different ways to use the separate 10 amp channels, because each one is independently 10 amps. You put 10 amp, 10 amp, 10 amp, 10 amp on
Now,
each.
you said that, this also runs DCC, but if you have a separate layout.
It doesn't run DCC, you can pass DCC through it.
Okay, but club in San Diego, in Balboa Park, they have multiple layouts, and they were running DCC, and it was interfering with the old TIUs that they were using. Okay.
Yeah,
So they had to shut off.
that was
DC.
really the radio.
Was it the radio?
Yeah, it was the radio. Now
okay,
with the
I see.
Wi-Fi, you're not going to interfere, but
Okay.
their radio was interfering with our radio. The radios, the channels that it is used for toys. There's a specific wavelength that FCC regulates that this and theirs run on. So there's small increments between there that you can pick, but some DCC systems will. And in the DCC industry, a lot of the manufacturers got together and they've made themselves on different scales. But even some of those, depending on the quality of the RF module, it will interfere with each other. But that will no longer happen with the Wi-Fi. That's another advantage of the Wi-Fi, the app, and not using this. You can tether this, and then there's no RF being used. So that'll be fine. And so there'll be no interference with your Wi-Fi.
Just checking, thank you.
So if you have an older TIU,
Yep.
like you just upgraded,
Yep.
and I were to buy the Wi-Fi one on your left, if I buy that, can I still use all the advanced features you just
Yes.
featured? Okay.
This will do all that. The only thing this does that your combination won't do is the DC power that you can regulate DC power as a conventional transformer, and that in the future you'll be able to automatically update this through your app.
Right.
This one you'll still have to go through the same process as. So if we come up with new features, we'll come up with one that you're going to have to get plugged in like we did today, or if you have this one, you just go to the app and hit upgrade, it goes to the internet and uploads. So that's really the only difference. So this is the answer to your thing right now. I mean, it's just like any electronics, TV sets or whatever the electronics are. The price of this is about the same as the old TIU and remote that you got, and you needed to go out and buy this, but now this is incorporated in here, and it has a few more.
Okay, to run a conventional or a line L, you need that cable.
You still need this cable,
Right.
and you'll need a new cable that we're coming
Right.
out with that's not out yet, so be patient. We got a new cable, but it's at the manufacturer getting made.
So you can run conventional, TMCC, legacy.
That's correct.
You get all the
of them,
features?
even the new, yeah,
Okay.
the new Legacy of three or something, whatever.
If
they
you put too much into that, will you mess it up? That your
Too much.
TIU?
Too
No,
much.
It won't burn up or nothing?
It's got 10 amps.
Okay.
If you go over to 10 amps, it'll pop the fuse. It's an
There's a
automotive fuse
fuse,
that you go
fuse in there, yeah.
to an automotive store. I think it's a yellow one, says
Yeah,
10 on
okay.
the end, and you just unplug it and plug it in.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it won't burn up the TIU. You might pop the fuse that you have to take the screws off the 6 screws out of the bottom and change the
Okay.
fuse.
Very good.
I was gonna ask that question, that's good.
Okay.
Any questions?
So, I'm not on the TIUs yet, right? I'm still running 6 trains with 6 Z1000s.
Right,
So, I have 6 independent loops.
right.
How many TIUs could I run all 6 tracks off of the one TIU?
You can. You can put 2 tracks on 2 of them. The only thing is the 10 amps. So if you're only running one train on
Right.
each lap, you're not running 10 amps. So yes, you can do that, and that's put the digital signal on those 2 loops. So it doesn't. One TIU would be fine for you unless you got a pretty big layout where you're going to double, triple head engines
Right.
on one of the tracks and on the other track, and then you're combined pulling 10 amps. But you got 10 amps to send the signal anywhere. And to put this on your layout is so simple. You cut the wires that is going to the track from the transformer, and you put on the one from the transformer on the in, and on the out you put the one going to the track. And all this thing's doing in the fixed channels is putting a digital signal on the track, and detecting if it's a TMCC engine, then it'll send it out the USB thing to the line L box. The variables, you can get a digital signal through there, and also you can flip from the transformer, so you can run a conventional. If it's a big enough layout, and you want to run a digital engine and a Pro Sound 1 and a Pro Sound 2, which is digital, you can run the one in command mode, set the speed, and then go to the transformer and regulates the speed of your old line L 1950s engine, and on the same track, making sure you can control it not to hit the other train if you got a big enough layout.
So I can run my 6 independent trains on my 6 independent tracks with one TIU as long as I don't.
Combine on those 2 tracks that you're gonna combine together, and you never run 10 amps, or even on the one track. If you start going over 10 amps on one track, then you gotta insulate half the layout, and so it's 10 amps here and 10 amps here, so when the trains are going over each other.
Right.
And also lights are big in passenger cars, bring up the amps too. You
Absolutely,
gotta watch
that's why everybody's gone, all passenger cars now are LED, so they don't draw so much, but the older ones, yes, that's your biggest drawing. When you get a passenger trains with 20 cars on it with incandescent bulbs, that's why they split it up, so half your cars are on this quarter of the layout and the other on this quarter of the layout.
And also with the engine reset, you still have the engine reset for features. The engine will be staying in the TIU, but when you reset the engine, factory reset,
Right.
it goes completely off. And you have
Completely
to
off and and then you gotta re-add it, because it's like a brand new engine, it's
Yeah.
never, and it has a new address on it.
Yeah.
Mike, have the AIUs changed significantly over the years?
Hasn't changed any. And the AIU, we've never used it, but there is a digital input, and we put a connector on it, never used it. At this point, we've continued to update this, but this is built in, and the software is built into the system to allow like infrared controllers and to be able to detect trains and then run the accessory, like the crossing gate, run it without having a wire. You can wire it is one way, but you can also sense the train with the digital input. We haven't used that yet, but it hasn't. But the AIU has never changed. It comes with a cable that plugs into the TIU and also has an output to go to another AIU, which is then another AIU, so you can daisy chain up to 5 of these on each TIU.
And Mike, the AIUs don't have to be updated.
No,
that just, they are what they are and,
All of this thing is a bank of relays.
okay,
So, you know, whether it's switch to the switch or there's two relays for the accessories, one for the activate or I mean for the switch, excuse me, two relays for each switch and one for the accessory.
okay.
Mike, is the documentation for all this on the website?
Yes, it is. You can search, you know, that new item number, and there's an instruction manual you can download, a big instruction manual. There's also a quick start manual that comes in the box, which will tell you how to hook it to your home network and how to get it up and running. And we have video as far as on the website for the app, for the basic, to, you know, go through the app, but, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Is there a person you can contact to see if you can find a part for you, if you have the item number?
If you got the item number, like say, the new website's gonna be out in about 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, but I want to say, is there a person you can actually talk to?
No, there's no person, everything's automated as far as, but you'll put the item number in, it's gonna be as simple as this. Put the item number, go to support, and go to the section of parts, and it'll say every part we have. Now, we may not have the part you want.
Or bring back Midge?
No, this is better than Midge. I can
think
find
so?
the part there.
Oh.
With Midge, I have to wait.
That's okay, I didn't mind waiting.
Yeah, but whatever we have, and let me say this, the parts that Midge knew about
May or may not
is probably about 20% of the parts that are actually now on the website. Because we've gone through boxes that, in the olden days, when we got an engine in, the manufacturer would give us all the extra parts. We never opened those boxes. And so all those extra parts we never knew about because they were just up on the shelf, and now we've been going through opening those boxes, taking out the parts, photographing them, describing them, whether, you know, from motors, the couplers, you know, all the detailed parts, all that stuff is now getting updated and put in a photograph taken of it and put a price on it, and it's sellable now. So
Any 2.0 old boards by chance?
there's not the old boards, but we have the new upgrade
I have
kits.
3.0 yet.
Right, 3.0.
Yeah, because I was,
I think there's some Loco sound boards up there.
yeah, I was trying to find a board for my PCC card.
Right.
You know, and it only has one motor in it.
Right, right.
And I want to spend, you know, 200.
There's Loco
$30
sounds, but
Yeah.
it's not that you're not gonna digitally.
Yeah,
control
okay. Thank you.
So Mike, there are boards out there that you can upgrade a PS1.
Correct.
Engine
If you
to
go
a
to this
PS3.
parts site, there's they have them in stock now, and we sell them every day, the either diesel upgrade kit or a steam upgrade kit. I'd strongly recommend, you know, taking it to a service guy that knows how to do it, because there's a lot of wires on there. There's no warranty if the individual blows it up, but if the dealer blows it up, who's been trained to do it, they can do it, because you hook one wire the wrong way, and you get too many volts or amps into it, you're gonna blow it up. So those upgrade kits are available now, and there's a lot of people doing that right now.
Any idea about the cost on those right now? Just off the top of your
Yeah, I
head.
think it's like $175 for the upgrade kit, which has everything you need, tack reader, all that stuff. You can upgrade an old Lino 1950s engine.
On the app, you had the speed control. Is there a way to set a limiter?
Yes,
Okay, great.
there's a child limiter. When I say child, but let me tell you something. You give this to your child, he's gonna figure out that limiter before you figure out how to set it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a limiter, so if you're in a train store, you can set the thing and.
Right.
And,
Is it password control? I mean,
well, your tablet can be password, so they can't get into it, but if they load it on their phone, they're gonna have it.
yeah.
I've seen 5-year-olds grab that phone, get that app, and you don't have to educate them. It's like, you know, all the sliders and the buttons and everything is like all the games they play, everything, and they pick it up really fast. Oh, yeah. And like I say, you have your grandkids come over, or friends or people in the neighborhood or whatever, they have their phone.
I'm sorry.
They can load the app and start running your trains if you allow them to.
But they still have to load them.
Yeah, they still have to add the engine, but if the engine comes sitting on the track, they download the app, add engine, and you know, they're up and running.
Do you have to have a program track for this?
No, but well, like I say, one engine on the track at a time. Load it one at a time, so there's no crossover. Depending on the quality of your track, he's got a little 4x8. You put one engine on, load it, one engine on, load it, and put them all in. Once they're all in, then you can set them all on the track and start them up independently. But the loading process, it brings over everything in the engine, all its features, all its settings, everything in there, and you should only do one at a time.
Okay, the last I finished features are just the same as.
Lash up features are in there. I didn't go over that, but yeah, you can lash up engines, diesel engines. It'll say you want to create a lash up. You name the head engine. You tell if the head engine's going to run in the forward position or reverse position. The next engine, the next engine, the next engine, and then the rear engine. And the only reason it needs to know the front and rear is for the coupler. So then that you name it as one engine or a lash up. You name that lash up, the Union Pacific, and it might have 5 engines in it. And then when you start it up, all those engines start up. They all move in the same direction. And when you hit the rear coupler, the rear of the lash up uncouples the thing, so it runs as one engine. So
And also, when you can have a lash up, one at the beginning of the train and at the end is a pusher.
you can do that
You
too.
can push it. I've been
That's
doing.
correct.
I do that.
Yeah.
And what about, I can't remember, can you put a Lionel engine in the middle of that lash
Yes,
up?
you
or-
can.
You can,
Yes,
okay.
you can. Yep, because it has all its features, the couplers, the direction, all that, so you're gonna set when it's just one of the engines you're gonna grab and do it. Any other questions?
When did you say it's gonna go on sale again? I'm sorry.
This will be out in 2 weeks.
Oh, would have
The apps are out now, but
We'll have the cord that you need for it, or?
the cord that you're gonna need for the remote, or the
Remote.
cord you need
Yeah.
for the TMCC, probably is gonna be like a month out.
Oh, okay. All right, so the cord you need for the remote is
For the
will be
remote.
coming.
But you're gonna use the app.
It's not, oh, yeah, of course, I'm gonna download it right now. You're on my phone. After my remote breaks.
Right, the remote, again, you still use with the old TIU. It's just this TIU you're gonna, so if you have the remote, you probably have an old TIU.
Right.
My suggestion is buy this, and then you're still with the remote, you're still with the TIU that you have. You're not spending to buy
Right.
another TIU because you have it.
Right.
Unless you need another TIU, but this is what you wanna buy if you, and you're not running DC,
Yeah.
buy this.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Is there any thought, Mike, of just making a new remote eventually, or is
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
just-
we have thought about that, or, we talked about a little thing that hangs from your remote that will do the, to receive the Wi-Fi, like you're getting in the TIU, to do it that way, but, we have thought about it, but it is a complete redesign. I mean, this has been, I think, 4 years in the making of doing it. We had you're like, well, it can't be just for the DC, but what we had to do is rewrite all the code in a different language because the processor got end of life. When we had all of and then we had the whole electronics problem with getting parts that they were, they were a year or a year and a half out to get parts, and but the processor changed, and when that changed, we had to rewrite the code in a different language for everything, and that was a long process. Like we developed it back in the 2000s.
So I have some engines, and I remember there's a switch in there that says DCC, so you just flip the switch if you run on DCC.
Correct.
right?
If you're running on DCC, you flip the switch. The 2-rail guys
Right,
do
right,
that.
2-rail guys,
and
right,
run it
yeah.
on DCC.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
So am I correct in thinking then that you have to your phone and then you have to have them both on the same Wi-Fi, right? The TIU and your phone to run it.
You
So
have
you
to
can't
get
be
the phone,
on.
go to the settings, and either
Right.
connect directly to the TIU, which is the MTH mode, or preset this up, hook it to your home network, and then you don't have to remember going back to the
Right.
settings. I can't tell you how many times I do it. I haven't hooked it to my home, but I go and I have to disconnect it from my home and go to the box itself.
Right.
So you should just connect it to your home, because I've got 2 homes and you go back and forth and it can't connect it to both of them.
Right. So your phone can't be like on the mobile data. You have to be on the Wi-Fi.
Correct.
Okay.
Go on the Wi-Fi, connect to your home network and have this connected to your home network, or go connect directly just to this.
Great.
And then you have no internet access. So another advantage of going to the home network is you still can walk around. You get a text or something, and you want to go and look up something on the internet and be on your Wi-Fi rather than your cell provider. You're going to have to go back to the settings, disconnect from this, and go there. So the best thing to do is hook it to your home network, and then everything works on your phone as normal.
Are you 2.4 or 5.0?
Of what?
What are you running? Because like on my house, my alarm system's on 2.4, My cable TV's on 5.0, I have to have two systems.
Gigahertz.
Yeah,
Gigahertz.
gigahertz, it's 2.4. The 5.0, it doesn't have as long of a range, it's a little faster, that's all.
So with the, for the older TIUs and the Wi-Fi there, talking about connecting to your home network, can I connect to my home network via that one?
Same thing. Yeah,
Same thing,
this is
okay.
same thing.
Cool.
And there's a, right here's the WPS button.
Okay.
So it's connected there, and it has the MTH in the home, same thing. Everything,
Yeah.
everything about this is the same, this is just built into here.
Yeah.